Hello, it's Elaina Strongbow from SodaTutorials.com, Elaina's main game name, and today I'm in Graph Island, or at Graph Island, on Graph Island, and I'm going to talk about brewing. Now, brewing came back in R55, so 2 releases ago. R56 just came out last week. And first thing, shout out to Skeggy Media, Skegggy Media. He does videos in for Shroud of the Avatar as well. He's in my guild and definitely does great content, so go check him out there. I was actually watching his on it because I hadn't got into brewing yet, but I did want to do a video on it, so I actually used his and to help find the location of stuff. So I'm going to kind of rattle some of the stuff off and actually show the actual brewing system, but I want to talk about more about what it actually does for the game outside of letting you brew stuff. So brewing can basically be thought of as 2 different things. One is the agricultural aspect of it, the other is the carpentry aspect of it, and well, actually 3, then the cooking. Agriculturally, you need ingredients to make the beverage. Carpentry-wise, you need the materials to actually cast the things, to make casks and stuff to hold it. And then from a cooking standpoint, you need to come make the ingredients and cask the ingredients. So I'm sitting over here. I have a village lot here that I just set up here. So it's got 2 greenhouses. I'm growing some stuff. Over here, the important stuff is some grapes. White grapes particularly, so I'm going to need those for white wine. Now, if you want to grow them, you can do that, and I think it's a little bit more fun doing that way. Otherwise, where you can get the the seeds for these ingredients, you can actually get the product as well. So I can't remember which is which, but I know in Exeter there is a vegetable stand in the little city square and on the north part of Brittany Estates, and I know it's because of Skeggy once again. You can get the actual ingredients, and basically there are red and white grapes. There's barley, wheat, and hops. So you can get the seeds and the products in there, and you can use those to make the ingredients. You need those to make it. In addition to that, you need some existing stuff like yeast, jars. I think it's yeast culture, and you also need sugar and water. Water is important in this as well. So that's it from the planting perspective. Otherwise, it's seeds. You can plant it and grow it and water it, and voila, you get grapes. You can harvest it and be on your way. The other part is the carpentry side. So at the home. So usually above the banks, there's the home vendors and the household decoration one. You can get the actual recipe for the items. Basically, what you're looking for are the casks, the recipes for the different casks to do like the red wine or the white wine or the different types of beers or different types of whiskeys, and I'll show those down here. Now, outside of that, you need the wooden barrel recipe, which is an old-time recipe. You need a wooden barrel. Then you can take that wooden barrel along with a sign symbol, which I think looks like these. These are ones you can get at the crafting merchants. You can buy these symbols. This, along with a wooden barrel, will allow you to actually make a cask. It looks kind of like this. Looks exactly like that. So let me hit across the different types of beverages that are in the game. From going from left to right, we've got beer, we've got spirits, and wines. Each column here, each row or each stack of 4 is one single type. This is all Brittany ale, so you can get a recipe on how to create a Brittany ale ingredients. This you get a Drockbach beer, and this one's over is the Harvest Wheat beer. So these are the different beers, and you'll see that actually once you've casked them, put them in cask ingredients, there's maturity dates. So these are 2 days and 2 days, 14 hours. Novian time. Over here we get into the whiskeys. I have 2, 7, and 25-year whiskeys. The older the whiskey, the longer it takes. This is 349 Novian days, so this will be a bit before this comes out and gets ready. And then I've got wines. I've got a white, a Palatus white, and actually a perennial red. So these are what, 6 days, so not too long to do that. So I've made the ingredients, I've made the casks, I put them together, they're here, and when they're complete, when they matured, a little spout will appear in the end, which means you can draw from it. So let's get ahead and get to the crafting part. So first thing I do is I need to make some barrels. So I'm going to make a barrel for each one. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different types. So I'm going to do 8 barrels here. And while it's crafting up, I'll talk in between while it's making these. So I've got maple boards, bindings, and wax here. It's 3 bindings, 10 boards, and 5 wax. So I've got enough of these pre-made to make these wooden barrels. So once we got the wooden barrels, then I can actually take and make the wooden barrels and turn them into casks. Otherwise, they just look like normal storage. They actually are pretty cool. They're stackable. You put them in your house, and you can actually put stuff in them. So they're a decoration chest on their own. So just remember that. I would suggest getting yourself a chest that has just your brewing stuff, your brewing ingredients, anything you make for it. I have one in between here. It's the only thing this property is used for, so it makes it easy. But if you have it in your full house, it just kind of keep that stuff aside. How much you have to make? I don't know. I just made a bunch. I thought a stack of 4 looked pretty good. I'd have a huge wall here of stuff, so I just made 4 of each and spent a lot of time wood crafting it and just had fun doing that. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 barrels. So that's great. So now that I've actually made those barrels, I can look at my cask recipes that I got, and I'm gonna need, there's 3 different beers, so I need 3 beer casks. So taking some wax, the brewing symbol, beer brewing symbol, from the crafting merchant, and the barrel, you can create your casks. So as soon as I do that, it's going to take these. It's no longer going to be like a storage, like an inventory chest or something. You'll see it come up. Here's a beer cask empty, and it's got its little legs on it and stuff, and they're stackable. So there's my 3. I've got 3 beer casks here. Then I'm going to take the spirits, make 3 of those, since we got a 7 and a 2, 7, and 25 here, and then I'll only do 2 wine casks. Now hopefully in the future there'll be other things that are on there. As I said, I'm gonna get there and I want to talk more about the implications of this system. I mean, if kind of leading into it, I can make a barrel, I can draw some stuff out of it. As a house decoration, looks awesome. As I get a bunch of liquor out of it, okay. I'm not too sure how that enhances the game outside of the tech. And I know Chris Beers referred to it, and they do this on the stream all the time. They talk about the tech involved. I'm gonna do my 2 wine casks. To me, brewing, I have higher hopes for brewing, that if I'm going to brew something, like I'm gonna make a 25-year whiskey, it's not just finding the recipe and cooking it. I mean, it should take skill to do that. And I always thought that brewing meant you had to brew so much and become so proficient that you could then brew other things. That's not in here, and hopefully that's something that will come out of it. And I hope that leads up to things like alchemy, like real potion making. Think about like how you did things in making potion kegs in Ultima Online. I hope the tech leads us to that in the future. So I'm happy that this is in here and that the tech is there. I'm more excited to see what the tech will lead to in subsequent releases at this point. But right now, at a minimum, they're really cool looking. They're cool looking house decorations. So I've got, pardon me, I've got 3 beer casks, 3 spirit casks, and 2 wine casks. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm actually going to break into this chest here, a little chest, and I'm going to take all my barley, my hops, my water, yeast, grapes, sugars, wheat, white grapes, and I'm going to put my bindings. I don't need those. I don't need more boards. I don't need more wax. I got my casks and my ingredients. So I've got all my cooking ingredients on here. I'm going to pop over here, and I'm going to look at my recipes, brewing components. So here are your recipes you can go buy at those vendors. You can get at different vendors and get your 2-year whiskey, 25, 7-year. Here are my ales, Drock, Harvest Wheat, and my red. So I'm going to make 1 of each. So I've got enough ingredients, I believe. So I'm going to craft 1. So I'll take the ingredients, which is typically, what am I making here? Whiskey. So the whiskey is barley, yeast, and water, different amounts. And I got a 2-year whiskey ingredients. Now I'm going to make the 25, which is just different amounts of barley and water and yeast. And then I'm going to take the 7-year and just kind of go through that. Okay, and here's my 7-year. Now I'm going to go down to the beers. Here's the Brittany Ale. And if you're doing a lot of this, you can make a bunch of this in batch and just leave it in the thing if you want. I'm just making it as needed. Consider I've got 4 of every type. I've got a lot of beverage in the house right now. So, and then the Harvest Wheat, which actually, just because it's a Harvest Wheat, it actually adds wheat instead of just hops and barley. And then you got your 2 wines with your white grape sugar and yeast, and your red grape sugar and yeast on the red wine. And now that that's done, we're going to switch out of the cooking or the brewing ingredients. We're going to go to the brewing casks. So this is where it will take the ingredients and then make your cask. So it takes a beer cask and an ingredient, and this is going to make a Brittany ale. And as soon as it's done that, it's got a mature date. You see, this is a 3-day maturing. So I'm going to do this is the Drakbach, and then we'll do the harvest wheat. And we'll get down into the spirits. We have the 2, the 25, and the 7 year. Oops, looks like I failed that one. Try that again. All right, so now you see I got beer cask with the actual identifier in there. So we'll do the 2, then we'll do 5, or sorry, 25, and then 7. I always thought they should, I know that's how it's spelled. It's in name order, but what can I do? I want to say 2, 7, 25. And then let's put this one in here, and you'll see my spirit cask here. And now I've got those 3. And let's do the 2 wines. So this is the white, and then we'll do the red. And here we go. Ah, I failed. Try that again. There are no fuels to do this. You just fail doing it. Just kind of lets you go and do it again. And so that's it. So now let's put all these food ingredients back into here so I can get around. I don't need barley, I don't need hops or water, no yeast, no grapes. Oops. One of those, all my grapes, all my sugar, oops, drag, and then wheat, and then grapes. So here we are, 3 beers, the 3 spirits, and this. And notice, so these are 7 days on the actual maturity time for wine. This is 98 days. This one here is 350 days. We'll see a year. We'll see a year on that. And this one's a month. So you got a month, you've got 3 months, and then you've got a year on this. So Novian time to do that. So let's go ahead and bring this outside. We're going to go back out of my basement, and we'll put it outside just to kind of show people that, hey, this is my little brewing thing. So you really don't need a garden. You don't need a place to do this. You can do this in a row home if you want and stick it in the basement. You can just buy the ingredients and not do the actual farming aspect of it. You can do the carpentry and the brewing of it down there. But if you have a bigger space, it's just kind of said it's a nice thing to do on here. Now what I may do is actually, instead of putting this outside, I just may put it inside of one of the greenhouses here. Let's see if I can fit this in. I think I can. So let's get my lined up. I put some wine in here. Would the cask fit in there? I think they would. You know, I'm gonna leave that for gardening. Let's put them right here. Actually, will it fit? Let's see what we got here. I can see my all right, I've got plenty of room out here. So I'm gonna make this the wall for my cooking stuff. So I'm gonna put my red right here, and I'm gonna rotate that. There's my red. Put this right beside it. There's my white. Now I get a little gap. I'll put one spirit. I gotta figure out which one. 25 goes last. So let's put this one here. And let's put the 25 right after it. Just makes all the, I make the in order. I have OCD. I really do. Things lining up. And then we got our beers. So I don't have no particular order for this one. Let's just put them out there. And then the harvest. So there we go. 8 different, beverages in here that you can brew. I said, is house decorations are really cool. They got the logos on it. Now you can get heraldry items, get your heraldry stuff put right here on the front part of it as well. So if you do have the heraldry stuff, you can actually get that emblazoned on there. And I will do that. I'll actually end up doing a video of me creating my my heraldry item and putting it in there. But it's really a cool decoration. I like the I said I like the aspect and the fact that it was a backer Kickstarter goal. I'm glad that they completed that and checked the box. As I said, my optimism is what will brewing lead to, and what can we do with the system, and other things. The only critical thing at this point with it, I just wish the skill would have been harder. I think, like, especially like to make a lower grade whiskey, it should be easier to do than to make a higher grade whiskey, and you have to either do so many, or there was a skill to actually do that. Maybe there'll become that in the future. It's hard to change that once the cat's out of the bag, but that was my hope, was that you would learn and have to learn recipes and then do so many and stuff. I wish that was in there, but nonetheless, you know, it's just that's just the way the system is in the game at this point. So other than that, that is brewing in a nutshell. And I said, you got any questions or comments, please throw them in the video. Thumbs up or thumbs down. It's Elaina Strongbow from SoTutorials.com. At the end here, a video is going to pop up. It's the previous one in the series. Besides that, a picture of me and the fairy wings. If you like what you're seeing here, please click on that, subscribe to the channel. And I'm glad to know and be able to know that people are liking it and make more videos in the future. Take care now. Bye.